back everyone, and once again it's time to go balls deep into My Hero Academia. We continue this epic arc with Shigaraki and the League of Villains finally being the ones on top. The heroes are pushed back and it seems like our resistance arc theory is more than likely coming into fruition. Our boy Deku can't win this, at least not this time around. Last week we also covered the moral dichotomy of good and evil between the heroes and the villains, going back to the grey area of moral choices of making actions which might not reflect or correspond to the perfect ideals of different groups, where not all heroes can be accountable for each other as they are not a monolithic. Neither is one villain like the other. There is a huge spectrum of decisions an individual can take, and with the murder of Twice by a hero, it opened doors of questions for Toga, changing her very foundation and ideals of what makes a hero and what makes a villain a villain. It seemed as though she might have had a belief that the heroes were entirely good or would only strive to perform actions based on ideals in opposition to her own. In Toga's eyes, there is a clear barrier between the two. She being a villain commits evil, so they should commit good. She kills, so they should save. She follows her desires unconditionally, where heroes uphold restraint. But when the ball dropped with the death of her friend, reality sunk in that not everything is black and white. And this very notion is pushed by Horikoshi throughout this masterpiece of a series. From the backstory and history of Endeavor on how he pushed his dreams onto his children, to the point of even becoming a monster of a father and husband, to the reality that heroes can also make wrong choices and decisions, like Nana Shimura abandoning her child believing it will be better for him, even with Hawks befriending a mentally troubled Twice, manipulating and finally ending his life, all for the greater good. Due to their lack of power, humans have to make hard choices, believing it's for the good of mankind. This even goes back to their decision of taking a life, as killing and ending a threat is easier than submitting and helping the threat change. But honestly guys, from the mistakes of the old, the new generation can only grow, and this story of My Hero Academia, it's not just simply about heroes fighting bad guys, but it's about life itself and all the hard problems that comes with it.
God damn!
Okay, so jumping right into the chapter, we see a flashback from earlier where Hado, one of the big three from UA, and Ida are rushing to tell Deku and the boys about Gigantomachi. Hado shows confusion as to why Ida is coming along with the information team, as only people who can fly are supposed to move towards Deku and his team. Let's not forget, we learned in chapter 287 that Makia is running at 100 kilometers an hour, so not every hero is faster than him. Only the heroes who can fly can overtake him and return to the battlefield with Shigaraki and Deku in time. But even though Ida can't fly, he's rushing in to save his friends. He even violated the orders that only people who can fly are allowed to go. This is a big statement for Ida as a hero. Ida has always been the strict class rep who must follow orders and listen to the chain of command. However, here he is violating these rules just so he can save his friends and allies. We then cut to the battlefield near the hospital where Deku, Bakugo, and Endeavor are seen falling through the sky. However, best boy Shoto is there to save the day as he flies up in the air and swifts them away to the ground. We also learn that Bakugo is still alive, where Shoto is giving him first aid and patching him up. I told you guys, didn't I? Bakugo will not die. He's important for the storyline. Now, while Bakugo lies on the ground unconscious, Deku, Endeavor, and Shoto looks up to the sky and are greeted by a menacing image of Shigaraki. This kinda looks like the villain Moonfish, you know? The black spikes coming out of Shigi looks like Moonfish's blade. All for One speaks through Shigaraki saying, "Tomura, no, you have to retreat." But Shigaraki ain't having none of that and screams at his master, telling him to shut his old ugly ass up. He's in charge now. He's probably thinking, "Dad, you can't tell me what to do.
Get the fuck out of my room and play Minecraft!"
But just like any good parent and sensei, All For One understands that Shigaraki isn't 100%, and as we learned earlier, Shigaraki isn't healing as fast as he did. This is due to his tank being broken before he could become the ultimate being. But currently Shigaraki is clouded with rage and emotions, especially since he saw his grandmother's image inside of the One For All quirk realm. Now, as Shigaraki was looking to use an ability on the trampled heroes on the ground, Hado waves surrounds the battlefield, with Ida not too far behind. Hado informs everyone about Makia approaching them and asks everyone to get out of the area. Deku, being Deku though, tells Shoto and Ida to leave but let him stay, as Shigaraki is targeting Deku and he will leave everyone else alone and chase Deku instead. But Shoto interjects, saying Shigaraki healing was weakened and this might be the only chance to bring him down. While all of this is going on, Shigaraki from the sky is preparing his attack, looking down on everyone, thinking so many little maggots crawling around, and we know this next attack will be unforgiving. Next we cut to Uraraka and Toga, where they are still fighting over who's going to be Deku's first wife. Come on guys, this harem has enough room for all of ya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But Uraraka smacks Toga in the air and gets a badass waifu moment saying, "Sorry, but I'm way stronger than last time." Uraraka then starts to think of the fight logically, just like how Deku would. She tells herself that she needs to make direct contact without getting her blood sucked. As Toga gets up, she tells Uraraka, "Here's the thing, baby cakes. Once I think about the people I like, I get the urge to become just like them." This intense desire of her girl Toga makes it extremely difficult for her to resist the temptation to drain out all the blood, in effect literally letting her become just like them due to her quirk. All of this ends up giving her the sense of the feeling of being high, with her heart pounding like crazy. Yes, like she's on crack or cocaine or she's smoking that good weed, I don't know, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this actually explains why she looked drugged out all the time.
Smoke weed every day.
But Toga then states that the others don't think like her, and that's what makes it very difficult to do things her way. This then brings a recollection to Toga as she reminisces back to when there was a person who actually tried to kill her while telling Toga how much pity she had for the life she lived. Come on man, even I would be kind of pissed about that.
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
Toga continued to reveal that during this instance, she decided to transform into Uraraka and kill that person using Uraraka's own quirk to drop them to their deaths. And this very realization of the fact that she can use the quirks of those people that she likes in her life made her so happy. Now guys, I want to quickly remind you lot that this information is very important, as it's a massive foreshadowing to Toga potentially using Twice's quirk even after his death. She pretty much loved the dude, so if she still has his blood, which we know is a high possibility, especially due to the fact that Twice with his potentially bloodied handkerchief came back to her in chapter 266 before his death. And even if that was debatable, the possibility that she has Twice's blood is pretty high. So what does all of this mean? Well guys, this means that the devastating plan of using Twice's quirk can still take place, meaning that the prediction we came up a year or so ago about the League of Villains taking control of the city is foreseeable.
Of course.
The heroes will be forced to train underground, later fighting back after a time skip. This will be the heroes' resistance. But for that to happen, the villains need to be in charge. They need to be in control, and with Twice's ability, that can be possible. But coming back to the chapter, Uraraka is horrified to hear that her quirk was used to kill someone. Super pissed off, she lunges towards Toga trying to take her down with her grapple hook. But Toga dodges that shit and throws her 8 HIV plus positive needles in return. Seriously, does she ever clean those things?
No!
Luckily for Uraraka and Deku's future babies, she blocks it, but ends up getting pushed back onto a 4K OLED 52-inch TV. Don't ask me how I know the resolution, guys. But as a homegirl, Uraraka gets up, she declares to Toga that she would never get the joy of using her quirk to drop someone to death. You are disgusting, despicable, you're not me, okay?
Of course!
But through all of this, Uraraka still wants to know what the hell is Toga even going on about. Still not fully knowing what happened to Twice, that is. Obviously, Uraraka is like, what the frick, you one crazy ass hoe. But suddenly, Uraraka realizes that something is missing as Toga looks on the floor and picks up the All Might charm that our boy Deku got Uraraka during Christmas. Uraraka immediately reaches out to get it back from her, but Toga bolts with it, turning around, asking if it's something important to her. Uraraka shouts back, "Yes, my future husband gave me that, so please give it back to me, oh my god, no!" Toga runs away saying, "You know, Jin-kun was also someone important to me." This whole scene is actually a deep dive into Toga's character. When she took Uraraka's All Might charm, Toga was like, well, something was taken from me too. This was pretty deep because she was sharing her own distress and emotion to the other side. In some ways, she wants to be understood, and if you think about it, out of the rest of the villains, she still has the most potential to change. In the end, she understood that she was no different to Uraraka because they both held something dear to them. Uraraka feels for Deku as she did for Twice, and if you really think about it, even though Toga joined the league due to Hero Killer Stain's ideology, although it might have been due to his overly excessive tactics against the heroes rather than his belief, but in her mind she still wanted to live in a world where she was accepted for who she is, allowing her to continue doing what she wants without being judged. All her life she was looked down upon as something disgusting, as something to be pitied on, just because of the way she was born. Yes, having a quirk like hers gave her an innate disposition to become thirsty for other people's blood, and who knows, maybe with the right help she might have been able to feel accepted and loved, pushing her to not go to extremes but manage her first in the right way. But coming back to the girls' interactions, Toga bites down on the doll as she compares herself to Uraraka, saying they both are the same, asking if she likes Deku as well. She goes on to say how she knew that all along and this charm that she holds dear to her was from him. All of this in some ways makes her feel so relatable to Uraraka. Think about it, the handkerchief, this charm, be it Deku or Twice, it doesn't matter because both these girls have the potential for affection and care for others. Now while Toga is talking, Uraraka has an inner monologue saying there's no more time to waste. While charging towards Toga, Uraraka stays out loud that charm belongs to her and she hits Toga with her zero satellites, using her surroundings to her advantage. But oh shit, all of this realization makes Toga admit that the truth is she's been holding back this entire time. Then Toga says something that shows how her childhood upbringing affected her mentality. She goes on to tell Uraraka that they kept telling me to hold back when I was young, but I couldn't hold back. This desire of mine belongs to me. But with that, Uraraka hits back, telling Toga that if she can't resist her desire to hurt others, then she'll have to take responsibility for her actions. With teardrops peeping through her eyes, which Uraraka catches a glimpse of before Toga prepares to throw her knives for her final attack, Toga replies, "Yeah, you're right," bidding Uraraka a thanks and goodbye. But just as those knives leaves Toga's hands, out of nowhere, a wild licky Suyu appears and knocks Toga's weapons out of her hands with a frog-ass looking ass tongue and asks Uraraka as to why is Himiko Toga with her, worried that she almost left Uraraka behind with such a tricky villain. With that, Toga realizing that her good old quality time with Uraraka is now interrupted, disappears into the shadows and vanishes into thin air. Frog Girl Floppy on high alert tells Uraraka that she disappeared but may aim for their blind spots and should watch each other's backs. However, Uraraka, still in shock at the fact that Toga was crying, believes that she has in fact run away. We then see a long shot panel of Toga escaping via the rooftops. As she passes by, we hear from a nearby radio that a huge villain, which we know is Gigantomachi, is getting even bigger. Before the broadcast cuts off, the reporter screams, "No! Stop! Yamero!" Meaning that Gigantomachi has crashed the helicopter reporter out of the way. With all this madness, we get the internal monologue of the fleeing Toga, delivering her final message to Uraraka in her mind, stating how she used to think that both of them were girls who loved the same person, that being Deku, and wondered if they could one day in the distant future talk again and discuss their love together. This goes back to our previous video where I mentioned how Toga saw Deku and Uraraka as potential friends. She had dreams and hopes where she possibly fantasized about being herself around these guys. Toga then decides to return to Dabi and the others, stating, "I'm coming back guys," and proclaims that she has finally gotten her answer. And all of this actually made me feel some sympathy for Toga. I know, she's a crazy hoe, but damn is she cute. Plus, that was quite a wholesome wish. Seeing the best girls in Deku's ever-growing harem talk about their love for Deku together, well, I don't know why, but I'm starting to get jealous. With all that, we transition back to the battlefield between Shigaraki, our boy Deku, and his gang. With the terrifying sound of the nearby Makia approaching, we get some good close-up shots of the shocked expression on Todoroki, Ida, and Hado, who are too late to react to Shigi's all-for-one tendrils, which are going rampant, decimating their surroundings, sending the gang flying back. And with that, Gigantomachi and the other villains has finally reached the battlefield. The chapter ends, showing us split panels of Makia, Shoto, Dabi, Deku, and Deva, Hado, Ida, and Shigaraki.
God damn!
This is just getting me more excited for the next chapter. These panel shots shows a huge indication of our hero's dismay, although we do know from the last chapter Best Genius is on his way, hopefully making it possible for our heroes to get away. And yes, I did do that on purpose, you know, here's a rhyme here and there. But as this war is coming to an end, and definitely from the looks of it, the heroes have lost this battle. We have been saying this will happen for a long time now. If Horikoshi wants to continue this series, a time skip must be applied, giving our heroes room to grow. No matter how we look at things, this battle will have to disengage on both sides. It's possible that Dabi might confront his father and brother before everyone splits. Who knows, there might even be a sudden death, but I wouldn't be too sure about that. Sadly though, I'm pretty certain Gran Torino will more than likely hit that coffin. Aizawa will probably survive through this, Bakugo will heal up, Endeavor might have to retire, or as I said, even might die. This arc was not only a war between the heroes and villains, but a transition from the old to the new. All for One to Shigaraki, All Might to Deku, Endeavor to Shoto, even Hawks to Tokiyami, and so on. We did break down how this series will conclude, continued in the end of the My Hero Academia series, so make sure to check that out. And remember guys, we do run on your love and support, so make sure to smash that like button, follow us on all our social medias, check out our Twitch stream, buy our merch, hit that notification bell, and until then, I'll catch you guys till next time.